Okay, it's been a while since I did one of these reviews, but I have literally just finished playing House of Ashes. I looked up all the achievements I missed and discovered that it can have a very different outcome. Uh, but as usual, start with something of the things I liked, the things I didn't like, and then kind of a wrap up with the review score. What I liked aesthetically, the art design was great. The monster design, I feel, for supermassive games is maybe not their strong suit, but I did enjoy the designs. Not the best, but certainly by no means not the worst. But the level design was fantastic. Obviously, they pay a lot of attention to like mocapping and photorealistic actors and things of that nature. For the most part, enjoyed that too. What else did I like? The broad arc of the story. I'll say I liked that. Things I liked less. Unfortunately, sorry, because this is a Dark Pictures anthology game for House of Ashes, there's not that much to comment on. It's basically just an animated movie, an interactive movie. So there's not much gameplay to comment on. So it looked pretty. The designs were cool, level and art and creature design. And the reactivity to decisions, I guess. Things I liked less, however, there were numerous animation issues from outright bugs, like Eric's pistol would just appear hovering near his hip towards the end of cutscenes. Lazy animation, like people descending a rope, clearly mocapped in a harness, where the character wasn't wearing a harness, and descending a rope like that, you would just fall down. And for a game built entirely around firearms, there was a lot of firearm inaccuracy. Very much movie rules rather than realism. Make of that what you will. But mostly what I didn't like was the writing. I get that these games are designed to have multiple routes through them and therefore have to be kind of ambiguous to some extent and almost necessarily shallow. But I feel like it was trying to do too much. A horror game, and by extension, and also a horror film, works because of the tightness of the narrative. For the most part, obviously there can be exceptions, but it's slow build up, and then everything happens almost all at once and builds to a crescendo, and then crescendo happens. Usually, at least one person survives. Didn't really do that here. I have an unofficial rule when consuming horror media, and like the first third, generally nothing happens. It's all about atmosphere, build up, introducing the characters. This just speed ran that section of the game, and it didn't do a good enough job of juggling all of the characters to introduce them to the point where an emotional connection was reached with me as the player, and them as my avatar in the game world, and the supporting cast. So when bad stuff happened, it was kind of like, oh, okay, cool. So it was trying to do too much without paying enough attention to the characters that it was trying to make us care about. Something I pointed out in the quarry and throughout the playthrough is just they introduced the monster too soon. They let you see it too soon. I think it's Lovecraft. What was it? What's the Lovecraft quote? The oldest and greatest fear of emotion is fear, and like the oldest and greatest fear is that of the unknown, or whatever it is. And because we know what it is too soon, it kind of loses all of the weight to it. Flux over on Moonbeam Horror Plots also works with tight consistency in presentation, number of issues which broke the immersion. Absolutely. I mean, some of them are obviously technological issues where they were trying too much. I feel like related to that, this could have done with a slightly longer development period. It wasn't quite cooked, so to speak. But go back to my point. There was too much of the game left after the reveal. I think is the easiest way is the easiest way I can put it. Um, and there were a couple of points during it where the game could have ended quite happily, and it didn't. It just kept going. then, of course, the game. I'm trying to do this as spoiler light as possible. The game kind of jumps the shark and is like aliens, um, and then you get through that section, and it could have ended there. And then there's another really convenient MacGuffin happens for one last holdout sequence, and then the game ends. And it's just the narrative was rushed too scattershot, and then it feels like they didn't quite know how to end it. Sounds like the devs are running into the Tomb Raider problem. Please do explain guns. Now, I will admit that I got the best ending. Did I make the best choices all the way through? Absolutely not. But if the quality of the narrative is determined by the ending that you get, I feel like there's a problem there. Like, yes, I got the best ending because everyone survived that could survive. But at the same time, that should feel like a win. Was the last MacGuffin even hinted at before it happened? There were a couple of things throughout, a couple of collectibles throughout Flux that. Trying to talk about it without talking about it, without explicitly saying what happens. Let's say this: it was hinted at in that there were collectibles relating to it, but there was nothing in the game that I picked up that said it was going to happen. If that makes sense, it just felt more like this is cool background information to pick up. It didn't feel like foreshadowing. And a couple of things felt like foreshadowing. Speaking of which, the white phosphorus. That was the worst example of Chekhov's gun I've ever experienced because you don't use them for anything, even though they would be perfect for this very thing. Anyway. Yeah, so basically what I didn't like, minor technological issues aside with the bugs and things, it was just the way the narrative was handled. It was fine, but it was rushed. It felt like they didn't know how to end things, and it's one of those things where I'm happy to give this a solid 6 out of 10. It was a perfectly average game. I would recommend you play it if you want to, maybe with friends, or stream it as I did and enjoy with your community. But I would definitely say wait for a sale. That's it. It looks great. Sound design's okay. I would say the sound design is really good, except the really weak sounding firearms and explosions for a primarily action horror story do kind of let it down. But my overall takeaway, if you've skipped to the end of the video, perfectly average game, perfectly fine, enjoyable. I mean, it took me like 7-ish hours because I was poking my face and everything, and I still only found 38 to 50 collectibles. So there's replayability. It's got a multiplayer mode where everyone takes the role of a different character in the story, which is no different, just passing the controller around. Definitely some cool ideas. Definitely some wasted ideas. Definitely some ideas that never needed to be there. Like, that entire third act didn't need to be in the game and was never explored in any way, shape, or form. Anyway. Thank you for explaining the Tomb Raider problem guns. I appreciate you explaining that. I should have had the chat on. That's on me. I will now YouTube. Hopefully, if you all think on the fence about buying House of Ashes, this has helped you make a decision. Again, I would recommend that you pick it up on sale. And as it's quite old at this point, that's probably more likely to happen than not. But until next time, YouTube, please do let me know what you thought in the comment section below. If you know anyone who might like this review, please do share it with them. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. If you can, swing by twitch.tv/comradebubbles or moonbeam.stream and find Comrade Bubbles and Bubbles Sanctuary there. I'd appreciate a follow. Or join the Sanctuary, Bubble Sanctuary realm on Moonbeam. But until next time, YouTube, please do stay safe. Please do stay healthy. Please do stay wholesome. Much love to you all. Goodbye.